The soda can hit the pavement with a flat, ugly thud. Sticky liquid splashed across the polished boots of the sentinel standing guard at Arlington. The crowd gasped in unison, their breath cutting through the sweltering summer air. Every pair of eyes snapped toward the source. A boy, 13 years old, Tyler Grayson, blonde hair gelled, sneakers worth more than most people's rent, phone in his hand, camera already rolling. His grin stretched wide as he whispered into the lens, ready for the perfect viral clip. He expected laughter, maybe a startled flinch from the soldier he'd just humiliated. But the man didn't move. The tomb guard, Specialist Ethan Caldwell, held his ground with the same steel discipline that had carried him through war zones. His sunglasses hid his eyes, but beneath them, something burned hotter than the sun overhead, a fury sharpened by grief. Because the tomb he protected wasn't just a post. It was sacred, and the soldier Tyler had mocked carried the weight of a fallen brother. In that instant, one careless act of disrespect would set off a chain of events that would change a boy, a family, and even a nation's understanding of honor. It was Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery. The air shimmered with heat, but the silence was heavy with reverence. Hundreds of visitors crowded around the tomb of the unknown soldier, families clutching flags, veterans standing rigid in salute, children holding their parents' hands. All eyes were on the sentinel pacing in deliberate rhythm, every step a ritual of precision. That sentinel was Ethan Caldwell. 28 years old, 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment. He walked those 21 steps not just for the nameless dead beneath that white marble, but for his brother Michael, who never came home from Afghanistan. Each click of his heel was a vow, I will not forget you. Among the crowd stood the Grayson family. Jonathan, a Silicon Valley CEO, couldn't tear his eyes from the glow of his phone. His wife, Lauren, fussed with her designer sunglasses. And between them, Tyler sighed loudly, restless and spoiled. To him, Arlington wasn't sacred ground, it was a boring pit stop before their flight to Paris. This is so lame, he muttered, voice carrying farther than he realized. It's just some guy walking back and forth. Like, who cares? Ethan heard it. The crowd heard it. Tyler didn't. He was too busy plotting content. Yo, watch this, Tyler whispered to his phone, grinning at the camera. Bet I can make him blink. He raised the half-empty soda can in his hand. The crowd stirred uneasily, sensing what was coming. His parents didn't even notice. The can arced through the hot air and clattered at Ethan's feet, splattering his immaculate boots. The silence was deafening. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he didn't flinch. He had stood tall under enemy fire, under mortars and IEDs. He would not break for a child's tantrum. But this insult wasn't aimed at him. It was aimed at the memory of every soldier who had given everything. Tyler laughed. Yo, he didn't even blink. This guy's literally a robot. Phones came up. The crowd whispered. A veteran in a faded cap shook his head, disgusted. That kid's got no respect, he muttered to his wife. Tyler doubled down. He stepped past the barrier, phone high in the air. Selfie with statue man. Million likes, here I come. That was the breaking point. Ethan's hand shot out in one swift motion. He seized Tyler's phone and dropped it to the pavement. The screen shattered with a sharp crack. The crowd gasped again, but this time, they weren't gasping at Ethan. They were gasping at Tyler. You broke my phone. Tyler shrieked. That's a $2,000 phone. My dad's gonna sue you. But the faces in the crowd were not sympathetic. Parents pulled their children back. Veterans glared. And when security rushed in, it wasn't Ethan they surrounded, it was Tyler. Inspector Laura Bennett, 15 years on the Arlington detail, stood firm. Sir, she told Jonathan, who was now sputtering about lawyers, your son committed assault on a federal officer and trespassed on restricted ground. You should be grateful this didn't end worse. Jonathan froze. For once, money and power didn't open doors. Within an hour, the Graysons found themselves in a cold, quiet security office. Across from them sat Colonel Margaret Hayes, Ethan's commanding officer. Her words cut sharper than any blade. Your son mocked the dead. He disgraced this ground. And you, her eyes flicked to Jonathan and Lauren, stood by and let it happen. You think money erases that? It doesn't. The family protested. Tyler pouted. But the world outside had already passed judgment. #Arlington Kid was trending worldwide. Clips of his soda can toss spread across every platform. News anchors debated parenting and patriotism. His mother's social media was buried in hate comments. His father's company stock started to dip. And for the first time, Tyler wasn't laughing. Colonel Hayes didn't offer prison. She offered something worse, reality. 4 weeks, she said. Community service. Here, at Arlington. He will learn what sacrifice means, or juvenile court will take it from here. Tyler scoffed at first. 4 weeks cleaning graves. Impossible. But then he met the grounds crew, old men and women with steady hands and eyes that had seen battlefields. They didn't care about his sneakers or his family name. They handed him a broom, and when he complained, they didn't even look up. One day, he met Clara Thompson, a 90-year-old nurse who had held dying boys in Normandy. They were your age, she whispered, her trembling fingers on his wrist. They died crying for their mothers. They never made it home. That's what this place remembers. For once, Tyler couldn't answer. Weeks passed. Slowly, something shifted. The spoiled kid who had mocked a tomb began to listen. He polished headstones, heard stories of sacrifice, and stood among veterans as Ethan marched once again. This time, the silence of the crowd felt different to him. Heavy. Holy. On his final day, Tyler sat across from Ethan, the man he had disrespected. His throat tightened. I'm sorry, Tyler said quietly. I thought it was a joke. I didn't see what this meant. I get it now. I can't take it back, but I want to do better. Ethan studied him. For a long time, he said nothing. Then, finally, he spoke. My brother died when I was your age. Every step I take here is for him. When you threw that can, you weren't mocking me. You were mocking him. Mocking all of them. His voice didn't rise, but the weight of it pressed on Tyler like a stone. I know, Tyler whispered. And I'm sorry. I'll never forget it. Ethan extended his hand. Tyler shook it. And for the first time, he wasn't a spoiled rich kid. He was a boy learning what honor meant. The story spread far beyond Arlington. The hashtag changed, from hashtag Arlington kid to hashtag lesson at the tomb. Tyler shared what he learned, writing about sacrifice and respect, trying to warn others not to make his mistake. His parents, once dismissive, once distant, began to change too. And Ethan. He returned to his post. His boots polished. His steps precise. A silent sentinel for the fallen. The cracked phone was never replaced. But in its place, Tyler gained something that couldn't be bought: humility, honor, and a memory that would mark him forever. Because the tomb of the unknown soldier isn't just stone. It's a reminder that some things are sacred. Some things must never be forgotten.